Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. Happy to have you here. We got an episode today. One of my brothers. I can't speak highly enough of my man right here. I say mentor, he says friend, so we'll just stick with friend for now. We got the one and only Matt A in the house. How you doing today, bud?
Dude, any day I get to kick it with my man Linney. It's always a good day. A lot of stuff going on in the world right now. So always excited to be engaging in conversations that fire me up, light me up, get me expanding, thinking bigger, inspired to take a little bit more of a purposeful step. And anytime I'm hanging out with you, brother, you know that's always the result.
Man, guys, y'all are lucky today. We've got, this guy, where do I even start? Six-figure flipper, high performance coach, mastermind, owns a hotel, buying a wine, so many things. But I'm very familiar with your story, and it didn't start there. It didn't start there, to say the least. So why don't you give the listeners who don't know you a little backstory of how we got to where we are today?
Yeah, to give a brief synopsis, like many people, I've experienced some hardships in my life with some early deaths in my life, which led to me second guessing and questioning and kind of rebelling as a teenager. Got expelled from high school, got arrested in college, and life was kind of spinning out of control for a variety of different reasons. And that second time I got arrested was kind of my oh shit moment. Which I think a lot of people experience that at some stage of life, depending on how hard they hit rock bottom. You realize that it's a fork in the road moment in your life. And a lot of people could be going through that right now with how they're experiencing COVID and what hardships they might be going through, whether it's health, finances, their business as an entrepreneur, investments that you have, or just in general, right? Relationships, lifestyle, things that we all deal with at some stage of life. And at that point in time, when we are faced with those realities, as scary as they can be, we have a choice to decide, how are we going to respond to this? And at that stage, I was facing 6 years in prison, felony, assault and battery, injury, drugs, alcohol induced, all kinds of crap. That was ultimately the previous life, the old Matty that I was living. And I remember praying to God in jail, going, if you give me a second chance, if you give me an opportunity to get out of this, there will be no stone left unturned. There will be no doubt as whether or not I'm playing full out and taking advantage of this gift that you're willing to give me. And long story short, I ended up getting those charges dropped. The case kind of fell apart for a variety of different reasons. And that kind of golden ticket, that Willy Wonka golden ticket was handed to me. And from that day forward, I've lived this, I would say, much more purposeful, intentional life to just playing full out, which led me to finding real estate, starting my own real estate businesses. I've started and participated in a variety of real estate companies, construction companies, tech, things of that nature, which has led me into this path over the last decade of personal development. You and I were talking a little bit about it before the call. Is this game, man, is as much as we get wrapped up into the physical aspects of life, business, how much money is in our bank account, what assets we do or don't own, right? All of these physical things that we give so much merit and weight to, and dictate a lot of our actions based on those things. Ultimately, it's a head game. So I've been participating and investing in myself in this personal development world and arena, speaking on stages, hosting masterminds, helping people break through and free of limitations and fears that hold them back from building some of the things that they want in their physical life. And that's led me to being a real estate investment coach and building my own real estate investing portfolio with single family properties, commercial properties, hotel, things of that nature. And I'm sure we'll get into that. But for me, I'm just a human being like you, like all of us, trying to do the best I can with what I have and what I've experienced, and based on where I want to go and what I want to achieve and by when. And so for me, it's just a daily game of discipline on whether or not, based on the goals and the roadmap that I've laid out for myself, if I can execute on that on a daily basis. And I struggle just like every other human does. And I also win more than the average human does, because it comes back to not being smarter, faster, stronger, more resourced. It's being more resourceful and more disciplined with the things that get the greatest ROI and moving the needle forward with the life that I want. And I'm sure we'll be talking about that today, knowing that so many people are here, they're listening, they're tuning in because they're going, how do I construct this dream life? Being that we all have it, right? And as cliche as it might sound to a lot of people, we've all got this vision of what life could be like. And yet a lot of times people aren't clear on what that is. When you ask them, what is this amazing life that you want to build, or business you want to build, or income, or, financial freedom you want to achieve? Most people don't have clarity in that. They know they want to make more money, or they know they want to travel more, or they know they want to have a better relationship with their partner or their spouse or with their own health, but they don't have real clarity in, one, what that actually is, and two, how they're going to get there. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got the best of intentions and the greatest of desires, but it's really that extra work that goes into actually seeing those things come to fruition that most people fall flat on. And that's the biggest challenge I think most human beings on a daily basis struggle with.
Mm-hmm. And I just had a call with a buddy, and, I'm a couple, 6 or 8 interviews into the podcast, getting started, greasing the wheels. And he called me. We haven't talked in like 6 months. And he said, hey, man, I don't know why, but I listened to your first episode with your coach who talked about having a cocaine problem and all this stuff. And he goes, I'm an alcoholic. You're the first person I've ever admitted that to, and I want to change my life. And so he's got a call today with my coach, and we had the best talk. And the reason is the reason I bring that up is the reason I started this podcast was lifestyle. And he got, long story short, he got an inheritance of $800,000, and he thought that was going to make it all make sense. And he said, he indulged in those, those things that he thought would give him the power that he needed. And then he realized that the corona, I'm calling it the corona. It took away every single vice that he had in his life, which was work, was his main vice. Mm-hmm. Drinking after working, because he's a Psalm, was another one. And he loves to gamble. So all those things went away. So he said, I'm sitting there. No kidding. This is a true story. He said, I'm sitting there after buying my second 6-pack at CVS. And I started listening to your podcast, and I thought to myself, the Sharona is making me look at myself in the mirror for the first time in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And so, I thought that's very relevant for the way this podcast is going to go, this call, is that people need to understand that you can learn a lot about real estate, and Matt knows more than most. But what I'm so intrigued with you is the lifestyle you've created through intention, right? And that's, right. Not calls on the weekends, and, you're very intentional with your girls and your wife. And that's what I get inspired about. So that's kind of where I want to leave the call for most of the time, how you craft a lifestyle that makes sense to you. And of course you want money. Who doesn't want money? Yeah, but that's not the overriding factor.
It's 100% a key part of the equation. Because when you think about most people's dream lifestyles, there is a price tag that goes next to it. And whether that's, living in your RV and traveling around the country, well, there's still a price tag that is attached to that. If you want to be traveling around the world 6 months out of the year, or you want to be living in this size house and this neighborhood with this car, right? There's always going to be a financial aspect to the success and wealth equation. And so you just got to account for that and be honest with yourself about it, and not feel guilty about what you want it to be. But going back to where did it all start for me, it literally started with the vision. And again, I go back to, I hate regurgitating kind of the no shit Sherlock type of information for a lot of people, but it's the no shit Sherlock information that most people, because it's so familiar or such a cliched answer, they overlook it and then they don't actually do it. And so for me, it started with this why, and it started with this vision. And when I started in building my business and started building my entrepreneurial brand and career and lifestyle, I was single. So I was 21 years old. I didn't have any kids. I didn't have a girlfriend, right? I was, at that point in time, the vision was, I just want to be wealthy. I want to become a millionaire. I don't want to be stressing about money. I want to have passive income coming in. And I was really clear on that. And that's all that I grinded on over and over and over and over again until I got to some level of financial comfort. And then I started being able to play this true game of building wealth. Because first and foremost, it's just trying to survive. Like, how do you get the momentum? How do you get the train out of the station and know that you got consistent revenue coming in to where, you know, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're somebody who's working in a job, you feel that sense of security. And then it goes, all right, based on what I got, how do I now start building things a little bit bigger? I poured a strong foundation. And foundation is obviously always going to come back to financial stability. It's going to come back to mental and physical discipline. It's going to come back to your relationships. It's going to come back to your plan or your business model. And once you pour that foundation really strong, then you can start building the life and the business that you want. But it's kind of like, what does it take to earn the right to unlock certain levels of your life? And so for me, I knew that the first level I wanted to unlock when I was first starting out was the financial piece. I wanted to get that stability because I was broke. I was living at home. I had no money in my bank account, right? But I knew that I wanted to be financially free. So that's what I started grinding on, and that's what I spent 4 or 5 years on. And as I met my girlfriend, now wife, and we started having kids, and I got 2 young girls, the vision began to change. The why began to change and evolve, right? And that's also part of life, is as life evolves, and it is something that you should always know is going to happen. It's going to change. You're going to have to adopt. You're going to have to tweak, right? I knew that, okay, as my vision changes and my why changes, that also means that the goals or the plan or the people might change as well. And so for me, when I was first grinding away, I was grinding 80, 90 hours a week, taking phone calls. You called me at 2 a.m. I was going to answer if I thought it was going to make me money, right? Now you can't get a hold of me on the weekends because that time is reserved for my kids. You can't get a hold of me in the evenings or at certain aspects of the mornings because that's reserved for the kids and the family. So I think it's getting clear on what do you want it to look like and by when and where are you at right now. And then we can reverse engineer some milestones, some stepping stones, some breadcrumbs that you can start to follow as you walk down this path and start building this life that you want. And then just keep going back and checking in and seeing what kind of progress you're making. What are you learning along the way? How do you get better? How do you tweak and optimize the plan? How do you get a little bit more efficient? What's not working, right? What gaps do you need to close? What challenges do you need to overcome? And as you stay really intimate with that vision, with that plan, you are at least giving yourself the best chance and the best opportunity to essentially compress the timeline that you get there, because that's where most people miss the mark. Is they set the vision maybe 5 years ago or the goals maybe at the beginning of the year, but they don't check in with it. They don't tweak and optimize. They don't track. They don't really keep up with the true scoreboard of how they are measuring up to the life that they want to create with the results that they're getting. And so for me, I just constantly try and stay in relationship with that vision, and the best way I can equate it to is like, Austin, if you told your wife, like, baby, I'm going to be the best husband this year and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you, and I'm going to do them by this date. And then you didn't talk to her. You didn't physically or emotionally or spiritually engage with your wife for the entire quarter or 6 months or the entire year, but you had the best of intentions when you said those things and you mapped them out in the beginning of the year, your relationship is going to look like shit, right? So it's staying in relationship with the intentions, with the plan, with the goals, and making sure that you are giving it the necessary love and attention to give yourself the best chance of actually achieving what those outcomes are that you anticipated and planned for in the beginning. And so that's what I do every year. I do my Rich Life Clarity contract, where I have, all the different pillars and categories of life with a handful of questions that essentially ask me questions that force me to get answers which create more clarity, and therefore I can continue to craft and mold and evolve this vision and go out and execute on it.
But also something that I think is super important is I believe that a lot of people don't create vision and goals that they truly want. I think there's a lot of things that shift the wind is what I think is the easiest way to say it, not being rude or anything, but that's what I did for a long time is why I'm saying that.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people are building lifestyles, they are building goals, they're, investing in relationships and opportunities that ultimately aren't aligned with what they truly want. And so that's a whole nother question, right? Is going what is your truth?
Mm-hmm.
What do you really want out of life? Because you might think you need to have X, Y, and Z because that's what mom and dad or the school system or college or your career right now says you should be striving for or should have or need. But ultimately, it's not what you want. And so truth, I think, is where ultimately we as human beings sit in our greatest power. And yet it's also what we are ultimately pulled away from and out of on a daily basis. The amount of hooks in society that tell you to think this way or to act this way, or that is acceptable or that's not acceptable, or because you want that, you're greedy or evil, or because you don't want that, you're lazy or stupid, right? So many different outlooks and threads of society that are woven into our subconscious and our conscious and the actions that we do and don't take that ultimately every day pull us out of our truth. It's the people who are often the most outspoken, who are often the most polarizing, who are often the most outlandish or obnoxious, are the people who are really probably sitting in their deepest truths. And also some of the greatest leaders, and also some of the most accomplished business owners, and also some of the most influential and impactful individuals the planet has ever seen. They're the crazy motherfuckers that ultimately end up changing the way we think and do things. It's because they chose to sit in truth and in their true power. And when you can be in congruency with what you really want for your life, what you really want for your business, what you really want for your family, what you really believe with your ideologies of religion or politics or philosophy, if you can get comfortable and in truth and in alignment with what you really, really believe and find a way to deliver it, that's ultimately, and act on it, that's ultimately where you see people manifest and create things because they're in truth, they're in congruency. And it's really, really hard, especially in the world we live in today, that's getting information thrown at you a million times per day. And you got thoughts, thousands, 60,000+ thoughts coming in your brain every day. You have marketing messages and images thrown at you everywhere you look. What is the truth anymore? What is your truth? And that's a hard thing for people to decipher and actually get in connection with, because we don't have space or create space or give ourselves opportunities to make sure we're clear in what that is every single day, unless you build in frameworks and triggers and, accountability around those things. That's where people can then hold themselves, in the lane within the, and stay on the path that they ultimately want to achieve, what they want to achieve by staying focused and in alignment with their truths, the action plan that's going to get them there, and the tracking that is going to give them the responses they need to keep navigating and course correcting along the way.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen, firsthand, Templeton and other people around me that have started out, had some success, and then it feels like the car turns into a Ferrari. And then you wake up one day and your company has 40 employees and you're going, how did I get here? And then you have to And that's what I think society does a terrible job of. They don't allow any space to be flexible, because you feel a responsibility to feed those people, and you feel a responsibility that you're carrying their livelihood, and you love being a boss. Who doesn't love being a boss? I love being a boss. But then you have to really look in the mirror and go, and my thing that I ask people all the time now, this is my number one thing I ask them, what do you want your life to look like the next 40 years? Just the simplest question in the world. If you can answer that question, the rest of the stuff will figure itself out. And so I would imagine when your flipping business got rolling, you probably woke up one day and you're like, it's been a good run, but maybe I want to do some other things too. So how do you pivot? Like, how do you have the mindset to turn off the spigot that's making you so much money?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, one, it's going to come down to some economics and whether it really makes sense to do that, or how do you leverage yourself out of certain things and, essentially build the right team and the right systems to leverage your time over to those team members or to those systems. Because the only way you can really scale a company is through people and systems. And the only way you can actually leverage yourself out of a business is going to be through people and systems. So, of course, having great talent around you is going to be important we talk about, right? What does it take to earn the right to not do something anymore? Or what does it take to earn the right to have permission to go and do something? I ask this question to my coaching clients all the time. Hey, I want to hire this new person and they're going to do X, Y, and Z for me, and they're going to bring in this much opportunity. Okay, well, what does it really take to earn the right to give you permission to bring on that amount of overhead? Well, they got to be doing this much in sales, and they got to be showing up and doing A, B, and C, and they got to essentially cover, 2 times their income, and I should probably have 6 months of their salary set aside. Okay, cool. Once you get there and we're clear on what that is, you earn the right to go and hire that person. Hey, what does it take to go earn the right to take 2 months off each year and travel the world with your family? Not just because you want to do it, but hey, if you have $30,000 that you set aside and you mapped out the itinerary and you got all of the things that you need in place to give yourself permission to go and take off, cool. You earn the right to do that. So I always think of, when it comes to, I try not to get attached to outcomes anymore. Mm-hmm. Because when I do, I ride emotions more than I do logic.
Oh, I would never do that. Maddie, who would do that? That's right? My MO, bro. That's why I just read that book, because, I just came from a sales job I got laid off on, and you see this big ass deal you're going to close. And as my boss would say, my ex-boss, he said, I'd see those guys on the 30th every day. They'd get their calculator out and they're counting their commission. And then 2 hours later, they'd be crying in the corner. And it's funny. I've never thought of it that way, but that's a very powerful statement. I'm not focused on the outcome anymore. It's the process.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. You have to have a target that you're aiming for, but it is one of those things where there's so many highs and lows and left and rights and starts and stops when it comes to getting to the outcome, that if you ride those too heavy, you're going to be miserable, to be honest. So it's, how do you find the peace in the process and build out the habits and the disciplines and the experiences that you desire, which ultimately are just going to produce a feeling that we're all hoping for, right? Which deep down inside, feelings of happiness, of security, right? The Tony Robbins 6 human basic needs are a lot of the things that we dictate our life actions around on a daily basis and getting those things. So for me, I'm always trying to find ways of staying as optimistic and as positive as I possibly can while being rooted in realism and practicality. And at the end of the day, just showing up the best I possibly can to sharpen the axe and move the needle forward. Because this is a long-term game. And you've heard me say this before, like life, creating what you want, business-wise, personally, this is a crock pot versus a microwave mindset. Like you have to know that the crock pot takes time for all of the right ingredients in the recipe to come together to cook that amazing dish. But when it does, It's a whole hell of a lot better than the shit that you're going to pull out of the microwave. And I'm a millennial. I pace in front of the microwave. I'm one of the most impatient mofos you're going to see. And I've also understood that the mentality that is necessary to find peace and to find success and to find happiness on this journey of life is going to require a very long-term mindset. I'm playing this for the long term. Mm-hmm. And I know that there's going to be a lot of micro moments, a lot of micro sprints within this long-term marathon that we're all playing that I can find happiness in and I can find opportunity in, right? But if we're just aiming for something so far out that ultimately is a fleeting feeling and there's nothing tangible that we can grab from it, then why are we doing this anyways? So it's finding those micro moments of happiness, of wins, of success, of opportunities for growth on a daily basis that keep me moving in the direction of the long-term destination I'm ultimately aiming for. But that outcome, I know it's going to require a lot of pivots and shifts along the way. So with that being said, I got to be nimble. I got to practice the daily game, the game right in front of me on a daily basis, knowing that that board game could shift. Like what we're going through right now in coronavirus, the board game I was playing for my life and my business and the vision, 30 days ago is not the board game that I'm playing right now, nor is it going to be the board game of life and business to get the outcome that I want post coronavirus when all this dust settles. So it's being willing to adapt and change and also just find the solace and the calm in the daily that allows us to not ride too high or too low, which is it's a tough thing for a lot of people.
But I almost feel like, because I've been out there and I visited, your car's not terrible, but it's not, it's not a Ferrari. Your house is, your house. It's nothing crazy. You don't live in a big house. I almost feel like you set up your life almost intentionally for moments like that we're going through right now with the virus, not to be over leveraged. But I would imagine as a younger guy and a lot of your buddies, are really wealthy, a lot of the guys in your group, I would imagine that takes a fair bit of discipline to not overstretch yourself, because I'm sure there's moments that you and your wife have talked about buying the house that you always wanted and that car that you always wanted and so on and so on. So what do you equate that to?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a level of, again, it goes back to what does it take to earn the right? Like for me, I've been driving the same car for the last decade that was driving in college. And I could go out and buy my car right now that I want. And ultimately I'm going to drive that shit for 2 weeks. It's going to be fucking awesome. And then I'm going to go, okay, I got a car payment that really doesn't bring me a whole lot of, and that's for me personally. There might be somebody that's obsessed with cars and every single day that brings them so much joy and happiness, and it's not them living beyond their means, and it's responsible and it's warranted and justified. And I say, go and do it. Right. For me, like having a massive house and a mansion and having all kinds of cars and having all kinds of flashy material things are ultimately just don't bring me joy. What brings me joy is I love eating good food. I love staying at nice hotels. I love paying for epic experiences on vacations. I like going to masterminds and events and retreats that fill my soul and fill my cup, right? And ultimately, those are the things that I invest my money on, and those are the things that I get excited about. So it's really for other people, do I want a bigger house and a nicer car? Sure. Do I need it? No, I really don't. I personally don't. And so that's where, when I go back to saying, like, what is your definition of a wealthy life? What is your definition of a rich life? It's different for every single person. And once you're clear on what it is for you, then we can actually start to architect and create a plan for unlocking it for you. And so that's what I always go back and harp on, is if you're not specific enough and clear enough on what that is for you, that's number one. That's the one domino. You shouldn't worry about any other domino behind that. It's what is that vision for you, and what does that really look like? And what do you need to have in place for certain levels to get unlocked, or certain permissions to be granted? And from there, it just becomes a game of execution. Like, it's the rules of the board game. You can't cheat the board game, right? And that's where most people don't put enough time and energy into their game of life, their game of business, because at the end of the day, let's be honest, one, it's not that sexy. It's kind of boring. But two, it actually takes some time and it takes repetition. I revisit my shit every single week, every single month, every single quarter, every single year. And I do it relatively obsessively. So it's one of those things where this ain't something that, is going to be a viral video and people are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's it. Right? It's one of those cliched, time tested, get in there, roll up your sleeves, do it often, do it more than you think you need to. And from there, you're going to see it continue to evolve and take place. And when you get emotionally connected and attached to something that you put in so much work on, that's when it starts to get fun. And that's when it starts to get exciting. And that's when you start to actually learn how to play the game at a really high level. It's putting in that Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours on things that really, really matter. And all of a sudden, you go from being not so good to okay to all right, you're doing good to great to excellent to master. And in the areas of life that I believe are going to unlock the greatest gifts and treasures and things that matter to me most is where I'm putting my 10,000 hours in.
Mm-hmm. And I couldn't agree more, because I feel like there's an attachment to the experience, because I know me and you think the same way. I would much rather pay to be on a yacht in the Mediterranean for a week with all my homeboys, talking business, than I would, a house that cost me $20,000 a month. It just doesn't do anything for me, because I grew up that way, and I just realized that it didn't ultimately get to happiness, right? And so at the end of the day, if you are building this life and you are setting the right intention from the mindset, how much we'll talk. Let's go new investor for a little bit. Somebody new to the game. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of those listeners. What are the things that when you are starting out within the first 6 months, a year, that can create the most impact? Prime example, my assistant, music producer his whole life, moving over to real estate. I'm teaching him. He's working with me. What are you telling that listener that these are the things? And then I'm going to tell the story how we met later on after that to give him hope. So,
yeah, I would say you're probably going to touch on this, which is number one is your relationships. I know that for me personally, I just want to do more of life with people that I love. I want to choose to give my time to those who really care about me, who care about my well-being, who want to see me achieve my goals, who are rooting me on, that are supporting me, that are challenging me, right? I want to invest my time with the people that are going to help me level up. And I know when first starting out, most people, they're looking for the low-hanging fruit. The one thing that is going to be the most important piece of the foundation you pour for a strong, sturdy, longevity in your business is going to be based on the relationships that you plant and nurture and harvest. And I kind of talk about it in the sense of being a farmer, right? Like if you're new in real estate, just look at your career as a raw piece of dirt. And as you go out and build relationships, you're rototilling the dirt, you're planting seeds. As you stay in touch with these people, as you stay connected, as you add value, as you find ways to get in proximity, as you grow into the conversations that you're having with them, you're ultimately going to see in a month, in 6 months, in a year, in 10 years, all of that raw dirt turn into a field full of crops with all kinds of juicy fruit that ultimately become your low-hanging fruit. But most people are just looking for transactional relationships. You have to be somebody that plays the long-term game. And to give you an example, there's been one broker that I've easily made over $1 million with because of all the deals that he brings me in on his number one contact. And that relationship came from somebody that I built rapport with early on in my career, who introduced me to him. We did one deal together. We kept adding value to each other, more business. And now looking back, that's been a 7-figure relationship, easy, hands down. And that's just one person. If you build a database full of thousands of those people, you're going to have a very prosperous and lucrative career, and you're going to have a lot of great people in your corner. So relationships are number one. That's just that should be a default. It happens every day, every week, no matter what. I call it my top 100. I'm always reaching out to the people that I circulate in and out on a monthly basis into and out of my top 100 based on the relationships that I think, one, I want to pour into, and two, selfishly will serve me and move the needle forward on my goals. There's always going to be some strategy in it. You can't lie to yourself about that. The second side of that is going to be strategy, right? When you first start getting into the business, figuring out how are you really going to be lead generating for new opportunities, new clients, new customers, and really what that's going to come down to is value. I call it the likability factor. The likability factor in, let's say, real estate, or really just in sales, or really in business in general. If you're a likable person, more people are going to want to do business with you. They're going to want to refer more opportunity to you. They're going to want to help you more. Overall, if you're a likable person, and that's just, we all know those people, right? You're like, man, I just love being around that guy. You're one of those guys for me, Linney, where I'm just like, I love that dude. From
the bartender game, we play the game, who you want to have a beer with. Right. And I want to have a beer with Anthony Bourdain. That's my, that's my number one. Right. And that's what we talk about all the time.
Yeah. And so I think the likability factor is going to be based on the formula that I've equated it to is you are somebody who is humble. So no matter how much success, how much you're worth, what you've done or haven't done, you come in every single day with a humble, I'm here to learn, I'm here to, give value, I'm here to work hard type of attitude, right? So humility is a big piece of it. Hard work is the second piece of it. It's hard not to like someone where you're like, man, that guy's a freaking workhorse. He's a beast. Every time I ask him to do something, he goes above and beyond. Every time he says he's going to do this, he goes a little bit on that extra mile. Right? Like it's hard to knock somebody and their work ethic. So hard work is always something that I know makes me like somebody more, right? And effort, that's a big thing. And then the third piece is value. If you come trying to add value to every conversation or to connect me with somebody or to help in some capacity, value plus hard work plus humility makes you a very likable person. And this is something that anybody can learn. It's a trait that anybody can gain by executing on those three things every single day in every relationship that you have, whether it's with your wife, whether it's with your kids, whether it's with whatever, right? In your business, if you show up willing to work hard, put out a level 10 effort, you're humble, right? You can check your pride and your ego at the door, and you can bring value to that experience, value to that relationship. It's hard not to win long-term with people and all of a sudden look up after doing that for a couple years and go, damn, I got a lot of people that are in my corner. And most importantly, they're going to be people that if you chose wisely to invest in the right relationships, they're going to be people who are aligned with your core values. They're going to be people who are working hard and hustling and are going to be growing and leveling up, that are probably going to have a hand down, pulling you up levels with them, right? They're going to teach you how to be a better leader. The mentorship side of this game is something that can truly allow you to take shortcuts. When you hear people say like, oh, you don't want to take, nope, that's a lie. Shortcuts, take them if you can. If mentors can give them to you, they're going to pull you into bigger opportunities that you're going to shortcut hurdles or challenges that you might experience and face on your own. And you're going to get shortcutted into bigger hurdles and bigger challenges and bigger opportunities just by being connected to the right people in the right conversations with the right networks and resources available to you. So I'm a big believer in, number one, find that mentor. I worked for somebody for free for the first year of my real estate career. And it was one of the best investments I ever made, that ultimately, even though I didn't make money on paper with them that year, I made a lot of money because of what I learned and what I learned to do, and also what not to do in that experience.
I heard something on a movie the other day. I thought it was the greatest quote I'll live by for the rest of my life. It said, I do believe that at one point, or at every point in your life, that you as a person need to have a mentor and you need to be teaching a protege. And it's kind of that revolving wheel. And I want to play devil's advocate for him because that stuff was amazing. But what I hear from people, especially young kids, this is the number one thing I hear all the time. Mm-hmm. They say, yeah, but why would he help me? Right? They're projecting their thoughts on, well, why would so-and-so, the CEO of Blackstone, why would he help these kids? Like, guys, what I'm trying to get to, and I'm sure Matty will elaborate, it's not on you to get into somebody else's brain. Maybe he had somebody that helped him out when he got started, guys. But what he's what he's saying in that is just add value and let the chips fall where they may. Don't try to maneuver the relationship to make it, make sense in 2 months is what I'm getting at.
Well, and they're making it that's a selfish thought. You're making it about you. Like, why would he help me?
Mm-hmm.
What's in it for me?
Good point.
It's not about what that person thinks, or if they want to help you, they're going to help you. All you can control is how you show up to every relationship and how you leave that relationship feeling after they experienced the Linney storm, right? Like, my goal is
that's my first book right there. The Linney storm.
One of my daily affirmations is I'm a breath of fresh air in every conversation in every room I walk into. Amen,
bro. You know what Tim Rhodes said to me the other day? Because I was just saying, hey, Tim, thank you so much. Through this whole experience, I've seen the part of him that I love, that everybody talks about. You're seeing a guy that doesn't need to just come out and support so many people and put on so many events. And I said, Tim, thank you. And he said, Austin, they need people like us right now, baby. Like, and so when I send these stupid videos, it's just to put a fucking smile on somebody's face. Yep. And you know what my friend texted me yesterday? She goes, Austin, I've been in the emergency room for 16 hours yesterday. I was a fucking nursing student a week ago. She goes, talk about move to the front line. She goes, your video made me think that it was going to be all right. And I said, hey, there you go, guys. And the thing, what I'm trying to impart there is what he's saying is just give and be happy to show up and show up after showing up. That's my rule is you have to bring in a level of, you told me this a while back. You said, your energy gets you in 90% of the doors, right? Absolutely. And what you do with it is after.
Energy is a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Energy management, if you can become a power plant that can control the amount of energy that comes out, that is infinite as a human being every day, again, that's part of being likable. Like, how you show up. And here's the thing. You can't be worried about, like, well, why would this person want to help me? Well, if they don't want to help you, I'll say this in a nice way, in a blunt way, like, fuck them then. You don't need them. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you want to align with the people that you feel, and again, there's going to be certain mentors that you want to be around, you want to get involved with strictly because of results financially.
Yep.
Be careful of that, because those are often the people that, if they don't align with you on all of the other core values and pillars of your life, can actually manipulate you and hurt you in a very bad way, to doing things, making decisions, walking down paths that ultimately are out of congruency with who you are at your core, pulling you out of your greatest power, which is your truth, right? And then there are going to be the mentors that you're going to go, man, that guy is a fucking killer in business, or she's a straight badass in the boardroom, and she's an amazing mom. She's an amazing wife. Mm-hmm. Or he is, dialed in with his health. He gives back to the community. He's crushing it in his business. I see how he leads and shows up for his kids and his wife. Like, I want to model after that person. So there's going to be, I think there's different types of mentors and people and relationships that you're going to want to build, right? You're going to have your inner circle, you're going to have your outer circle, you're going to have your social circle. And you kind of got to be clear on what is the definition of getting into the inner circle, and what are the requirements for being in the outer circle, and what are the requirements of being in the social circle. Because I don't let everybody speak into my life. Just because you're a billionaire doesn't mean you can tell me how to be a dad when you fucking suck and your wife doesn't want to hang out with you and you see your kids once a week for an hour. Like, So again, I think it's just being clear on what are you looking for in those relationships, showing up in a way that can serve that individual, that tells that individual you're serious. Because one of my greatest tips that one of my early mentors gave me, he's like, you talked about the show up after you show up. For him, it was like, you got to show up 10 times in order for me to even think you're worthwhile. So again, going back to the low hanging fruit, like, this is a long-term game. And if you're truly invested in building the relationship, if they don't respond the first time or the second time or the third time or the fourth time or the fifth time, doesn't matter. How bad do you want it? What are you ultimately pushing into that person for in the first place? And if your intentions are pure and your core values are aligned and you're feeling like that person can help you, then keep showing up until they tell you to either fuck off or say, hey, you know what? Circle back with me on this date at this time and let me see what I can do. Because 90% of the people will never circle back on this date at that time, right? And 90% of the people would have already fallen back off of following up after that first or second missed effort, right? So it's the people who are going to go the extra mile that are going to get those results that they're really, really looking for in their life.
And maybe you have the stat right off the top of your head. You told me something, and I would equate this to life too. Didn't you tell me that you did the math on your flips or something like that, and you found out that
Follow-ups?
Yeah, like wasn't it like after the 8th time, like 70% of your deals or something like that?
So for the last few years, over 60% of the deals closed came after the 7th or the 8th follow-up.
Guys, rewind.
And again, if I didn't track that, right? Think of how many people give up after the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, no, or leave me alone, or no response, right? What I found was, at least in the business side of contracting business with single family flips and wholesales, the contract got signed after the 7th or the 8th touch. Over 60% of my flips came after that 7th or 8th follow-up.
And that's the definition of crockpot or microwave, boys and girls. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, have you put in enough effort? And the number one thing that you have to ask yourself every day is, did you earn the right to walk away from that relationship? Meaning
you got to be relentless.
Yeah, 100%. Savage, almost a little scary. You know,
when you think about it, like the best things in life, the most lucrative things in life, the most fulfilling things in life, rarely do they get gifted to you on the first try or on the first effort. Like, I don't know about you, but I'd never chased a girl more in my life than my wife. And if I would have given up on the 2nd or 3rd or 4th try, I wouldn't have 2 beautiful kids and an amazing wife and this life that I built, right? If I didn't follow up with certain sellers, I wouldn't have significant amounts of properties in my portfolio that have great equity and provide me passive income every month, right? So sales rarely get made on the first pitch. Just because you believe in something or you desire something doesn't mean everyone else will. You need to be able to sell your vision, your work ethic, your value, your conviction over and over and over again. It's the people who can articulate that and be disciplined in that and stay consistent with that are the ones who ultimately end up getting rewarded and being the 10-year or 15-year overnight success story, or that lucky person when you don't see all of the effort that went in under the water. You just see, of course, that iceberg. It's the people that are just straight dogs with follow-up and grind away and consistently go away based on no matter what the outcome is that day, they know what they need to do and what they're going to do tomorrow and what they're going to do the next day and do the next week, and they do it.
I was doing my NLP training yesterday in my class, and they said that get this stat, 60% of the people that you coach or are in therapy will succeed and do better if you, as a coach, believe that they will. It has nothing to do with the shit that you say out of your mouth. The energy and enthusiasm, if you're saying, dude, I don't know what you have or what you're holding on to, but we're going to get through this. And that was like, the mind, and this is why the podcast is here that I'm doing. The mind, is the first indicator through the door, I think, is what I'm saying. You have to, what he's saying, you have to, a great book, quick read, Vivid Vision. Mm-hmm. I thought it was fantastic book. Kind of painting your life, because the thing is that in your mind, it can be something, but until you truly articulate it down on a piece of paper, and that's when it's real. That's when you have to stare at it. That's why we have the whiteboards in the freaking rooms where you have to look at it over and over, and it's just staring you in the face. And I've been contemplating, this is my thing. I haven't decided yet, but I think I have to. Have you redone your goals with everything that's been going on?
Oh, 100%. That's something that I've been working on with all my coaching clients starting weeks ago was, hey, your Q2 goals
just changed.
Need to be completely recalibrated, and 2, your 2020 goals need to be recalibrated, because what has happened over the last 30 days is going to require a lot of people.
And it's not, but here's what's important. It's not a bad thing.
No,
it's not a bad thing. It is, there's a reality, and then there's, and if you supersede those, then fantastic.
Again, it's doing what is required. What is required because of what's going on right now in the world is going to be something that you didn't plan for being required 3 or 4 months into the year. But guess what? This is what is required in order for you to keep moving in the direction that you want to go, achieving what you want to achieve. So know that just because you wrote goals down, just because you mapped a plan out, doesn't mean that it's not going to change. You look at airline pilots, the plan that they started with versus what they actually execute on and fly according to when they're up in the air to get to the destination they wanted to get to requires hundreds of course corrections along the way. Right. Mm-hmm. And so if they were attached to, hey, this was the plan we started with, we got to stick to it, man. This was our word. Well, fuck, then they're going to end up in Japan when they're going to freaking Tampa. Right. So yeah. I think, again, it's doing what is required, because if you're not willing to do what's required, then that ultimately at the root of things is a sense of entitlement that you think because you did something or you put in the X amount of work. I heard this the other day from one of my clients that I was working. He's like, dude, I did what was required. We wrote down I was going to make 100 calls and I didn't get the results. Okay, well then you didn't do what was required to get the result that you wanted to get. You wanted 2 buyer consultations and 2 listing appointments, and you got 1 and 1. So that obviously wasn't what's required. Are you willing to do what's required? Because that's going to evolve, that's going to change. And as long as you humble yourself every day to say, hey, I'll do what I got to do. I'll do what I got to do if I'm really that attached to getting the result that I want to get in my life.
It's amazing. I love it. I know you're busy, but just hang in there with me. Indulge me for a second, because I'm trying to give hope to everybody out there. So I'm going to tell the story of how we met and the one question that Maddie asked me, and we've never really talked much about it, but he knows how much it means to me. I was in M1. I was, there's a lot of guys in M1 that are successful and, they do good with their business, but, I heard Maddie talk, and I was like, I like this guy, as he would say, his audio was matching his video. And so I DM'd him, and I remember it because I could even pull it up. I asked him a question, like an ask or something, and he just didn't respond. And then I thought to myself, okay, I guess I'm a little smarter now, but he was teaching me how this relationship was gonna operate. And you don't ask questions when you haven't provided value. You don't ask for an ask is what I'm saying, basically. And so I continue to follow up, and I continue to add value where I could, and this went on for a long time in DMs and so on and so on and so on.
Here's part of the value that he added to me. If you're watching this on video,
I know the way to everybody's heart. It's super easy.
He sent me some whiskey.
That was whiskey, by the way, for you audio listeners. And I don't remember why, but I just came out there. Was it for the rich life? Or was it just? Yeah,
no, you straight up flew out here to go to one of our meetings.
By the way, I live in San Antonio for you listeners. He lives in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So I just said, well, freak it. So my motto is have plain will network. So, I flew out there. You're very busy, very fucking busy. And, what did we meet for? Like
30 minutes?
7 minutes?
Yeah,
like maybe 8 minutes. He goes, I got 8 minutes to spare, So I said, well, I made it happen. And guys, what I'm trying to get by telling you the story is in my mind, Matt was this obtainable, person that was so much greater than me, even though he's younger than me, big time. And what I took away from that that conversation was this: we're the same. And when y'all understand that, no matter how smart or how much none of that crap matters, guys. And that's why I'm telling you the story. And that was like the thing that changed for me. So when I'm around these guys that I look up to in real estate, I don't walk in there as a subservient. I want to add value, but I'm not a subservient, punk anymore. Like, it's like, okay, like I have dreams just like you do. You have a wife, you have a kid. And that's what I'm trying to get from that story is one, if you want something, go get it. And 100%. And he's not the only one I've done this to. I've done it to Templeton. I've done it, I'll fly. And
you're great friends and being mentored and now collaborating on
doing deals with guys. And that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah. I mean, that investment of flying across the country, to most people, they're like, dude, that's crazy. But again, if you believe in yourself and you believe you're aligned with that person and you can add value to them and just start the conversation and then show up like you did after that consistently over and over, bro, you've added more value to my life probably than, let's say, in a business world and just friendship. You're top 3 people that have added more value to my life in the last 12 to 24 months than anybody else. And that has also earned you a spot in the sense of, I'm going, I love this dude. I want to support him. I want to help him win. I want to find ways of doing business with him. I want to, right? And so that's where, if you start comparing yourself to other people's highlight reels or accolades, or you're judging other people's work in progress, don't judge yourself and don't judge other people, because that's a big, big limitation in life and business. And 1, it will limit your self-worth. And 2, it'll plant a lot of seeds that, when watered, become very toxic. Mm-hmm. So instead, focus on improving yourself daily, adding value to those people, giving all your energy to whatever chapter of life you're writing, and know that, hey, just because I might be a little bit further down the path than you in real estate doesn't make me any better of a human being than you. That's for damn sure.
No, and one of my greatest thrills in my entire life, and I'm going to get a little sinister for a minute, is to watch you just get punched in the chin with your hotel. I just love it, because I spent 20 years in that space, and of any space, guys, and maybe he can tell you a little bit why we got too much time. You are a successful flipper, right? And you've decided to take a little bit of a different path, and Corona might change that moving forward. We don't know. We'll see.
Well, I stopped flipping because it was at the peak of the market and the margins stopped making sense.
And then you got pushed in and beat up with this hotel. Mm-hmm. And what gives you the confidence?
We're just gearing up for the worst of it too.
I mean, if there's any first couple months of a hotel, I don't know, this will be a book for sure. Hey man, I got my ass kicked. We finally got the hotel up and running, and then a virus shut down the entire world. Boom, 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 boom. So, talk about how you have the self-confidence to take on, this new challenge, because that was my problem. And that keeps harping back to me, is the reason I was in the restaurant business so long is because I was top dog. I was comfortable, and you're the top dog in flipping. So how do you pivot, your entire business, not in your entire business, but a part of your business, to what mentality do you walk into that new experience with?
Yeah, well, I saw the writing on the wall with flipping a few years back going, okay, margins are getting compressed and more competitors coming in that are overpaying. And we're already in kind of what feels like the 9th inning of the market cycle, which we ended up in the 12th, 13th inning before this whole coronavirus thing hit. So flipping is going to make a comeback, and I will essentially have my business ready to rock. I still have been and been doing flips for the last 10 years. So it's not like it's something that has stopped, but it's something I leveraged myself out of and said, hey, based on where my goals are, and what I want to achieve over the next decade, flipping ain't going to be what gets me there. So again, it was, what is the vision of where I want to be and by when? And then it becomes, well, what is the strategy? What is the model that is ultimately going to get me there? And then how do I build an action plan and a roadmap to execute on every single day? And for me, that led me into commercial real estate assets. So I've got, a couple commercial strip centers. I bought this hotel up in Lake Tahoe, and I was like, man, if I can buy a real estate asset that is tangible, has all the tax advantages of traditional real estate assets, has also got this hospitality and experiential component that I can create memories and experiences for other people and for myself and my family. Oh my gosh, that's the trifecta, the holy grail, right? And then this whole Corona shit happened. But it was one of those things where, again, do I know what the fuck I'm doing in hotels on a scale of the best top operators in the world and the bottom top operators, or the bottom worst operators in the world? I'm probably somewhere in the middle because I've got enough real estate experience and management, but it was one of those things where I knew I was coming in green. So just like no matter what you're doing, whether it's flipping, whether it's wholesaling, whether it's buying your first rental property, whether it's buying an Airbnb or a hotel or commercial strip center, whatever it is, every master always started as a student. Every sensei always began as the white belt, right? So again, if you come in, one of my quotes that, I always told myself, I was like, I want to have my own quote one day. I want a meme quote with Matt Aitchison on it. And so I was thinking about, I said this a couple years back, and they're like, that's it. And the one thing that I always employ in my life every single day is I'm a student of life, and I'm always looking for my next teacher. Whether that is Austin Linney, who maybe isn't as experienced in single family flips and been in the real estate industry as long as me, but the dude walks circles around me with hospitality and hotels and Airbnb. So guess what? I employed to have someone like him in my life to speak wisdom and to help me as a mentor shorten those learning curves, avoid a lot of those mistakes, get to where I want to go a little bit faster, right? So always being willing to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, faster than you, stronger than you, more experienced than you, more resourced than you, right? That's a great thing. That's a good position to be in. And knowing that if you're going to have to start at the bottom of the totem pole, that's okay. But who do you need to have around you on that journey to trying to elevate up to the top of the totem pole? One, knowing it's going to take time. Two, knowing it's going to take discipline. Three, if you continue to skill up and you sharpen the axe and you put more tools on your tool belt and weaponize yourself along the way, and you have a great counsel around you, you're going to go out and be successful. It just takes time. So for me right now, the axe that I've been sharpening, I sharpened my axe and I swung it a lot at single family real estate, the tree trunk of flipping and wholesaling. And now I'm sharpening my axe on commercial real estate. And I've been doing that for the last few years. And that's the tree trunk that I'm chipping away at. And so just knowing that it takes a lot of, one, sharpening, and two, swinging to get the results that you want. But ultimately, you got to come in humble, ready to learn. It's that likability factor. Right? It really comes back to, I am confident in who I am, what value I can bring, what work ethic I can put forward. I am willing to remain humble. I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to do what it takes. And I'm willing to add value to anybody and everybody I come in contact with every single day. And if I do that and I show up and this is the vertical that I'm playing in, I'm going to bet on the fact that I'm successful. And you listening right now have to bet on yourself every single day, especially in times of uncertainty like we're all experiencing right now in business and life with coronavirus and life as we knew it before, not being what it is, now versus what it's going to be maybe in 90 days. It's one of those things where every single day you have to believe that you're not a statistic, that you're not a liar, that you are an outlier, and that you're the horse that you're going to bet on no matter what. And depending on, if you die on that sword, then you die on that sword. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to bet on myself every single day in times of uncertainty and know that if I work my ass off, if I show up humbly, if I show up hungry, if I'm willing to do whatever it takes and I surround myself with the right people, I am going to bet on myself that I'm going to win in the long run. And that's what I believe in every day. And that's what I show up for every day.
That was it right there, guys. Just play that one back. I'm going to respect your time. We're going to get out of here. That was a roadmap to success. He didn't say his favorite quote, so I'm going to say it for him. Make sure your ceiling's your new floor. That's my favorite quote on the planet. And basically what I told my friend today, the guy that I was in 2019 is not suitable for 2020. And the guy that was suitable for 2020 is not suitable for 2021. You have to be, as Ed Milet says, you have to be in a crisis to get to the next best version of yourself.
Every day.
Every day.
every day. And that takes time. And, to recap on making your ceiling your floor, just remember, you guys, whatever you're struggling with right now, or what opportunities you've got right now, be grateful for them, the good and the bad, because what once was what you're doing today, what you're earning today, what your goals and dreams are today, at one point in your life was a massive stretch for you. Your floor back then was your ceiling right now. And you found a way to make your ceiling right now the new floor. And so that's always what I'm looking to do, is going, what's my floor right now? And what is the ceiling that I'm trying to break through on? And what do I need to do in order to make that happen? How do I make this my new normal? How do I make my $5,000 job per month $10,000 a month? How do I make, this habit just what I do and how I operate now? And asking those questions over and over again is going to give you clues and breadcrumbs on how you can follow this path and this trail to making whatever ceiling is hanging over your head just your new norm. It's just how you do what you do. And that takes good habits, good disciplines, good people, good environments, and overall an unwavering belief in yourself that you're going to figure it out and you're going to make it happen. And you get to work, and that's what you do every single day.
Amen. Goodness, your podcast is amazing. There's so many things. Just give them a quick overview how they can hunt you down.
Yeah, Millionaire Mindcast, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday episodes, whether that's on YouTube, our videos, or just audio. You can always check that out on all podcasting platforms. My Instagram, official Matty A. All of my hashtags, or I'm sorry, my handles are official Matty A. Come say what up to you, boy. I always love interacting with you guys. You can text me at 844-447-1555. And if there's any value or support I can add you guys, if you want to learn more about one-on-one coaching opportunities, or what our community looks like, you can always head over to therichlifeacademy.com.
And I'll just tell you, because I haven't said it to you in a while, I get a weekly text about you and our crazy friend, Mr. Breedwell's podcast every Wednesday. We have no idea what Breedwell is going to say, guys. That's a full disclosure. We carry around lawyer agreements with us at all times because we don't know what he's going to say. But a lot of my buddies who are in the finance world, they really enjoy that hour that y'all give. A lot of dudes that manage a lot of money talk about how great that is.
Yeah, we like to have some fun. We like to talk some shit. We like to talk current events. And most importantly, talk about how to make you more money to unlock the experiences, accolades, accomplishments, and most importantly, the enjoyment and fulfillment that you look for in life.
Guys, and if you love this episode like I do, make sure you rate us, review us, share it, send it to your friends. And thank you so much for coming on, Matt.
It's always a pleasure, brother.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.